This is Jean-Paul, and on paper, he's the unluckiest guy you will ever meet.
So about 10 years ago, I was an officiant at a wedding and I got punched in the face and then got charged with assault. I didn't even hit the guy. Not only did he steal money out of my bank account, but he also stole the house.
Oh, so you got nothing from that house?
Nothing from the house. My entire nest egg was stolen from me. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like on every deal, you're either unlucky or what happens? You're always with the wrong people at the wrong time. Do you have anything for retirement? Any investments? Nothing else?
Nothing else at the moment.
Nothing?
Nothing.
But wait, he actually has one last thing to his name. And this thing has value. What can he do with it to completely change his life? Follow along as this video is a roller coaster. Welcome to Finance Action, the show where we take action. My name is Romain, and today I have the pleasure to be with Jean-Paul. Jean-Paul, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful today. How are you, Romain?
I'm doing great, Jean-Paul. Let's look at your profile. You're 42 years old. You're originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You currently live in Los Angeles, and you work as a full-time filmmaker. Is that right?
That is correct.
Awesome. Looking at the way you've rated your personal finances from chilling to payday, today, Jean-Paul, you rated yourself as yikes, which is tough to hear. And so, can you bring me a little bit into some of the components around what's going on? Why do you feel like such?
So about 10 years ago, I was an officiant at a wedding and I got punched in the face and then got charged with assault. I didn't even hit the guy. And that has changed the trajectory of my life in the worst.
I see. So you got punched at a wedding 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It has been on your report. Mm-hmm. And so you can't really get a real job.
No.
So you have to rely on self-employed for the past 10 years until this dropped off.
Yep.
Ooh, okay. Well, we'll be diving into that wedding story. I want to know a little bit more. But all right, so that was 10 years ago. But walk me through a little bit about kind of your upbringing a little bit, kind of what was going on.
So I come from a blue-collar family. I'm the oldest of five. When I was in high school, my parents divorced. My dad was a factory worker. My mom was a nurse, and she got addicted to heroin.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and we went to Catholic school, and no one was paying my siblings' tuition. And being the oldest, I finished school, but I didn't get to graduate because I didn't pay. And then I wound up paying their tuition for the next couple of years and worked odd and end jobs. And yeah.
Okay, so you pretty much had to, from a young age, pay for your siblings to graduate and so on?
Yeah.
Oof, okay. How did that continue then? So what happens?
Well, eventually I was able to pay off everything, keep them afloat, and I was able to get to college myself on a full scholarship.
Nice.
And thank you. It took me 5 years, but I graduated with 2 degrees in filmmaking and acting.
Okay.
And on the East Coast, eventually I got to do a lot of different work.
Okay. But you could say right on paper that you've got work flowing at the time, but today it results in a situation that's a little bit tricky. So I'm sure it has not been all rainbows. Walk me through kind of what have been some of the big things that have stroked your life a little bit.
So eventually, 3 partners of mine, we buy a house.
Okay.
And we had this whole real estate planned that we were going to buy this house, rent it out, then buy another house and keep going until we all had enough houses for ourselves.
Okay.
But then the pandemic hit, they fall off. I know. Believe me, it was heartbreaking to me. This was going to change my life and make me, and at least even if I didn't make it as an actor or filmmaker, I had this real estate plan to fall back on, and there it would have been, and I would have lived this comfy life. But the pandemic had other thoughts about that, as many of us know, and they fell off. I had to use what savings I had at the time to keep the house afloat, and the mortgage killed me. So my acting manager came in at the time, a very well-trusted friend first before he was my manager.
For how long? As friends?
About 4 or 5 years at
Okay.
this point. And he came in and he bought the house from me. And we had a contract together, though, stating that I would get the house back if I kept the mortgage payments up and do everything. But just like many manager stories, not only did he steal money out of my bank account, but he also stole the house.
Oh, so you got nothing from that house?
Nothing from the house. My entire nest egg was stolen from me. Yeah.
And you couldn't resort to any legal
Well, now I was in LA when this was happening, so financially I was already strapped. Okay, so I had no money, so I still, and I want to. I need to raise the money, and that's why I'm here today. Really, is one of the reasons to raise money and get better with my financials is so that I can go back and fight for this house. But it's an uphill battle with lawyers and lots of money.
Oh, okay. So here, kind of to summarize a little bit about some of the components. Number one, I don't know. There's the like. Having partners to me is kind of it always shits the bed. Like
Yes, that it does.
that's why on all of the projects that I'm generally I'm right now actually this podcast I'm working with an editor as a partner because she's been with me from day one because when you sell a story of like similar to when you sell a movie, you need someone to kind of brainstorm with and kind of more ideas and so on. So she's with me on this, but I mean. If I could, in any of other projects that I get involved in, I would always want to rely only on myself because generally something always arises and then it kind of turns down. You have two experiences of this, one with the three other partners that let you on your own now having to handle the house, and number two with a trusted party that was also one of your best friends. How long ago did he stole the house from you?
Oh, that was when I moved to LA. So we lived together in the house up until I moved for a couple of years together during the pandemic and afterwards. And so I was able to keep working and I made enough money to save and move out to LA. So when I moved out to LA, now that I've been gone long enough, he's trying to say that I abandoned the house and that he has all rights to the house.
Oh, so he had been playing the game for quite a while.
Yes, he planned and anticipated this.
Disappointing, huh?
Yeah, but disappointing, heartbreaking. I mean, when you find out that everything you dreamt, hoped, and thought your future was going to be, and it's just been stolen from you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, with that said, Sean Paul, this was a couple months ago. You're still kind of recovering your steps on it.
Yes.
Where do you find yourself today? Like we are speaking today. What's going on with you?
Today, I am literally going job to job just to make rent and bills every month. And every month, I'm out there hustling. If I take a day off or fall behind in any capacity and I don't find work, I will be kicked out and be homeless.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Pressure's on.
But from knowing a little bit about your story, you have potentially an exit door, which I know you're not going to like what I will say at that time when it arises, but follow along, guys, because the story is not all that dark for you, actually. We'll be discussing a little bit about this as we transition to our next segment here, which looks at your income and your assets. All right, guys, let's look at your income. So you work as a freelancer. How much does that provide you per year?
About $25,000, give or take.
How do you make that money?
By renting out my gear, by providing services like editing, film, actually camera operating, DPing, producing, writing, directing. It could be any of those. I take jobs in.
So you're telling me that you're renting some form of gear?
Yeah. So
what is that?
I own a Red Weapon, which is an 8K camera.
Okay.
That is shot with a lot of movies are shot on it. A lot of cinema movies.
Okay. What's the value of that?
When right now I would say my whole package with everything all said and done is about $125,000.
Hey.
Yeah. That's
all right. $125,000. How did you even get to? Do you own any money on it?
No, I don't owe any money.
How did you even acquire this type of gear?
So a very well-known restaurateur in Philadelphia had become a friend of mine, and he offered me, he found out that if I could just get a nut sum of money, that I could raise us all other money. And so he had loaned it to me and gave it to me, and which I then turned around and, he changed my life with that. Yeah.
So you paid every investor on that camera?
Yes, I own the camera flat out.
Wow. Okay. So we'll take thought of that as we think about your assets. But we quickly coming back to your income. So you're making about $1,500 net per month right now?
Right now, yes.
And you mentioned that you can only do self-employment because of a story that happened at the wedding?
Yes. The bride and groom had already left for the night, and we were all staying and dancing, a bunch of us.
Okay.
We were outside, and I was talking with somebody when she came over to me, and she said that this man over there had put his hand up his skirt and accosted her. Being a former bartender, I had a big mouth on me, and I went over and I started belittling him as a man and say, what kind of man would do that to a woman? He did not take to too kindly because he turned around and struck me in the face. Now, when he struck me, I grabbed him, being a former ice hockey player, and we fell to the ground. But he fell over top of me and hit his face on a parking meter and broke his nose. Now, I stayed and waited for the cops to come because I never even threw a punch. I actually went back into the venue, was on the dance floor, and when the cops came in, they arrested me, the officiant of the wedding, in front of everyone on the dance floor. Yeah. And then it goes to be, what happened was that the guy that I had made fun of and belittled actually never accosted the woman. She lied. That's why he struck me.
She lied?
She lied, yes. So it was one of the worst betrayals of my life because this woman, like, I took her at face value and word. I knew her since college. I hadn't seen her in a few years, but yeah.
And so he pressed charges against you?
He pressed charges against me, and because I was on the scene of the crime when they arrived and I admitted to the cops that I had grabbed him, I was personally eligible. And since then, it's considered a simple assault. Even though in the state of Pennsylvania, it's a misdemeanor, it's not a felony in any capacity, people see the word assault and think violent crime, violent offender. So I cannot even get a job at Walmart when I never even threw a punch. It's just the system and the way it was. Now, it has a 10-year limit of statutation on it, and I'm at
So it's going to fall off soon.
I have a 9-year mark, but then it's going to cost me $2,000 to expunge it from my record. So it's going to.
But we need to get out of the way ASAP. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll.
So crazy.
Yeah.
A situation that's not even of your resort. Like you, I mean, yeah, you just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
I opened my big mouth and I shouldn't have. It was my fault.
Oh, gosh. See how a situation and a life pretty much completely changed of...
Yeah, just like that.
One small situation.
Mm-hmm. Then the embarrassment that came with it, telling people I got arrested and just friends, family, like... You know, what happened? Everyone talking about it. The girl that I was seeing at the time wound up leaving me over it.
No way. Even when you explained what was going on?
Because I had to spend so much money and people were just like, oh, God. And I grew up in a rough neighborhood, so I had a bit of a history where like people were like, oh, maybe he's like that. And it is what it is, and it's like sometimes if you're born in a place... haunt you for a little bit.
All right. Okay. So, all right. So this brings you to about 25,000, which in Los Angeles is kind of survival mode, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so.
Okay.
If I have one bad month, I don't know how I'll make it.
Okay. Actually, let's think about this. How does that transitions into your assets? So thank you for providing with your statements today. The time that we are speaking, you're showing up with a balance of $107 on your checking account. Mm-hmm. You also have another type of assets here, miscellaneous, but what is that?
I do plasma.
Okay.
Which my cousin's a hemophiliac, so I've been doing it for quite a bit, but they actually pay you for it as well.
How much do you get from plasma donation?
$110 a week.
Okay. Is it very demanding?
No, you just lay there. You just got to be healthy, and which I am. I'm a very healthy guy, so you just got to be hydrated, eat proper, and
How long do they keep you for?
For me, about 45 minutes. 45 minutes to an hour. You're hooked up, and they take you out.
Twice a week?
Twice a week.
So about $55 per hour of income for doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Not negligible, huh, when you're kind of... scavenging for what you can get?
It winds up giving you, I wind up getting enough work to cover my bills typically, and then this would be my extra or my pocket money or food money or something like that. It comes in handy.
How much do you have on that card, that plasma card?
Like $55, I believe.
$55. Okay. Now, I am very pleased to say that you have this camera equipment. Okay. To the value worth today, if you were to resell, you're saying about $125,000. Let's be honest. Like you have to sell it. How much do you get from it?
I don't know those numbers off the top of my head. But I would say 125 is what I should be able to get easy.
Okay.
for everything.
We'll be accounting for that. The other thing that I was going to ask you is here you're showing also a car.
Yes.
So you have a car. What do you drive?
Yes. A 2018 Ford Fusion.
Okay, how many miles?
Like 141,000.
Okay. And do you own any money on it?
No, I do not.
How much did you buy it for?
Like 18,000.
Do you know how much the car is worth today?
I do not know the Kelly Blue Book of it, no.
8,000.
8,000. That's disappointing. That is just 1 year. I bought it 1 year ago, and that's, depreciation.
Yeah, but like you get almost scammed from those guys again. Where did you buy it from?
I bought it from an actual Ford Lexus dealership.
Gosh. Did you make your research before buying it, my friend?
Yes, with everything that I was out there, yes, at the time. And
you bought it at, and that was almost like peak of used car prices.
Mm-hmm. At the time, yeah.
Okay. No sponsorship here, just a quick fun fact on how I like to buy cars. Two things. Either Facebook Marketplace and you bring a mechanic with you. Those are for cars that are less than $10,000, right? You bring a mechanic with you that's going to cost you $125 to inspect everything so that you guarantee it's not a lemon. Or you go on Car Gurus. I love this website. You search. At the top, you can filter by best deal because they compare the car value against the price that the dealership is selling it at on used car. And you can see which ones are actually the greatest deals.
So I had bought 2 used cars through Marketplace, and I did not get a mechanic. I had a buddy of mine who said he knew cars, look at it. Oh, yeah, well, he fixes his own. And again, I trusted someone I shouldn't have. So I actually went through 2 cars before I bought this one, and I wasted about $6,000 when I first got here in the first 2.5 weeks of living in LA. I spent over $50,000 moving here in the last year.
What happened that you knew those cars were lemons?
Well, I didn't. They looked fine. They ran fine for about a week, and then they went down. And then when I finally did take them to a mechanic, that they're like, yeah, there was major internal stuff that even if you had someone look at it by the eye, they wouldn't have been able to see. You know what I mean? So it really didn't matter. They needed to hook it up to a machine and run it through a diagnostics. Yeah. So that's when so at that point, because when I was moving out to LA, I was supposed to move out with a third person, and they bailed on us the day of. Okay. The day of moving here. So 1/3 of the money that we had planned on an apartment out the window. 1/3 of the money for traveling across the country out the window. Now, the other guy that I moved here with, he was on a very set income until he got here. So he could not put up any more money. So I had to go into my own pocket and cover that extra third. So I paid for 2/3 of the move compared to his 1/3, which drained me and depleted me of all my savings that I had. Because most people go, why'd you move out to LA with no savings? Well, I didn't. I moved out here with a pretty hefty savings, and I was very secure. But then I went through the cars. Then I had to find a place, and because the place was so last minute, I had to put down an extra large deposit on it, which I won't get that money back until we leave, but we can't afford to leave, so we're here. And then on top of that, so the car that I had in Philadelphia, I knew wouldn't make it here to LA, so I sold it before I got out there. And I sold it to a junkyard for a couple $100, and I just got rid of it. And nice. For parts, whatever. So they never took the registration out of my name. So when I moved here to LA, my registration expired. And again, in the state of Pennsylvania, they suspended my license. And so I'm not even allowed to legally drive in the state of California. And I cannot get my license again without returning to Pennsylvania and being there in court in person to deal with it. Or unless I find a lawyer again, which I haven't found one pro bono, which I've been on a search for the last 3 months. But it's with everything else going on, you got to search for jobs and then search for a lawyer. And you can only do so much in a day every day. Yeah.
So, a quick thing. When you sell a freaking car, you go on the DMV, you look at your registration and you say sold for car. It's going to cost you $11 because I've heard horror story of people that reuse the license plate and then they put the license plate on like stolen cars and so on. It's a shit show. If you don't sell to a dealer and to a private party, they don't care. And then you get screwed around. I feel like on every deal, you're either unlucky or what happens? You're always with the wrong people at the wrong time.
I've been very lucky and very blessed, though, in a lot of ways. And it does balance out for me. I always say that I'm the luckiest guy you'll ever meet. But I am very lucky. I am. Otherwise, I wouldn't own the camera or had the house in the first place.
Speaking of that camera, so you're making $25,000 per year on it. I'm sorry, $25,000 per year of your total income. How much of that is driven by the camera rental?
I would say 80% of it is.
So 20,000?
I would say, yeah. 80% of it's driven by the camera rental.
Okay, so let's just do some quick math here. If the camera is worth $125,000, this camera is giving you a return per year of about 16%. But you have to find work, you have to be on set, you have to take care of all the contracts, you have to pay for tax on this. 16% return on investment on your camera. So on top of that, I forgot to say, this is a forever depreciating asset for something that I believe is far from being passive.
It is very much not passive.
All right, so that brings currently your total assets at 42 years old, thanks God to your camera, to $133,185. Not bad. Yeah. But cash, my friend, you have $150.
That's bad.
See what I mean?
Yes.
Do you have anything for retirement, any investments? Nothing else?
Nothing else at the moment.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Are you hoping at some point to have a family?
I do want to have a family. I would love to get married and have kids, yeah. I would love to have a house, my own house. And again, the real estate venture was so that at the very least I would always have that to fall on and I could have a house and just get a regular job and do stuff like that. So
I take this in mind as we think about our next steps, as we transition to our next segment here, which looks at your expenses and your debt. Let's start first with our regular housing expenses. How much do you pay for rent in Los Angeles? What's your living situation?
So my living situation is that the one guy that I moved out here with and we're living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Oh, both of you?
Both of us are living in.
Okay.
So the bedroom is basically my bedroom. The living room is his bedroom, and then we split the common areas, which are the kitchen and the bathroom. And we have 2 cats and a dog. It's tight.
Do you have a partner?
You know how embarrassing it would even be to ask a girl to go out and with $150 to my name? Going to In-N-Out would hurt me detrimentally.
All right. So you guys are sharing a 1-bedroom. At least you are being conservative. How much do you spend on rent per month?
Rent per month is $865 plus utilities.
How much is your utilities?
I would say like $200.
Okay. So that brings your current housing expenses right now against your income at 73%. We like it to be below 28. Now, you would tell me it's a crazy number, but my friend, you're only making $1,450 per month, huh? And you're living in LA, so $1,000 in LA is not too bad, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay, as we transition to some of the rest of your expenses. So your car, you paid it cash.
Yes.
You got a little bit screwed up on that front, with much respect. Do your due diligence, guys, please. But you're spending also on insurance. How much?
I believe insurance is $150 a month.
Okay, not too bad. What about for gas?
Like $150 a month as well.
Okay, so that brings your transportation expenses to 21%. We like it to be below 15%. You own your car, right? Again, it's because your income is just capped right now. You're just capped. Okay. Let's move on to some of the rest of your expenses. And here, what is very nice to see is that you provided me with your statements. And for the most part, you're being very frugal. I love to see that. You're not spending on shit Starbucks or any of that. I actually see one In-N-Out of $27. But for the months,
that was for an investor who came to town. I had to treat him once, and he paid for my last short film. So
that's fair.
He dropped $10,000, and I paid $27,000.
That's a good return on investment.
Yes, yeah.
For the most part, all of your expenses are either for food, which you spend calculated around $300 or so, a little bit outside as well, but very light food. But then utilities, you don't spend on things that you shouldn't be off. No Starbucks, no DoorDash delivery, none of that BS.
Nope. No drinking.
You just keep it tight.
Yeah. No bars. No. I don't go out. Yeah.
Nothing.
No. I cook every meal. I eat very simply: yogurt and berries for breakfast, can of tuna for lunch, with some veggies, and then chicken and broccoli for dinner.
Okay. I see also that you have dog-related expenses. So you have a pet?
Yes, I do. I have a dog named Rocky.
Okay. How much do you spend on that pet per month?
I would say food totals anywhere from like 50 to 75 a month for him.
Okay. Do you have pet insurance?
No, I do not have pet insurance.
Oh, gosh.
I learned that from you.
Please. Okay, so that's one of the biggest mistakes that people are making. I'm not going to tell again too many times my story. If you've been an active watcher, you know that something big arised for me, and thanks God I had pet insurance. Mm-hmm. My dog was 2 years old. He ate a piece of plastic, a $6,500 surgery.
Wow.
If I didn't have pet insurance, I mean, I would have been in a tough spot.
Yeah.
So how old is your dog?
2 years.
2 years. I personally love Lemonade. I've been working with them for 3 years. Okay. They are my insurance for my own pets. They are up to date. The pricing is good. I have a link in the description if you guys want to check them out. But seriously, I actually do enjoy them. They're available in most of the states. So I encourage you to check it out for you as well. It's going to cost you about $50. But guess what? Mine cost me $50 and the surgery was $6,000.
Right.
So I have 100 months ahead, for like 10 years of my dog, pet insurance that's already covered by one surgery. So imagine when he gets older and so on, especially if your pet is young, you want to get it as soon as humanly possible. So I will want for you to get that. We'll be speaking about this in the recommendations section. As we think about some of the rest of your expenses, here a little bit of personal care, but overall not too bad. Let's move on to some of your debt. One that you're recording here in your application is a personal debt to your aunt.
Yes.
Of $7,000, 0% interest, about a year ago. What is that?
That was for an electronic device for work, for a laptop. I needed it to, part of the things with the camera, with editing and also transferring footage. So, yeah, it was very expensive.
So, hopefully at some point you will be able to pay her back.
Yes.
But right now she's not charging you anything.
No.
Okay. I also see that you have a dentist of $1,200.
Yes.
But you have medical insurance.
Yes.
How much do you pay for medical insurance per month?
Well, actually, the state of California, because is covering me for
Zero.
Yes.
Okay. So you're making monthly payment on that?
Yes. Yeah. It's about $75 a month.
Okay. The other thing that I see is you also have a credit card that is in collection, but only for the amount of $400.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what's going on this? Like, that's peanuts. What happened?
I was good about not doing that.
You haven't stacked up on the other credit card debt, though.
No. I always worked, 10 years of bartending and waiting tables, so I was always in a cash business. So,
You never really used the system.
No.
What is your credit score right now?
It's low because, again, with the house, when we hit the pandemic, when my manager bought the house, and maybe this should have been a huge red flag for me, but he taught me, he was like, if you dive your credit score, you get all this government funding. And so I didn't pay the bills for a few months under his supervision. And then he stepped in and did everything. And he filled out all the paperwork and everything.
On your behalf?
On my behalf. Yeah, it's fraudulent. I know. He defrauded
but
the government.
You had so much trust for the guy, you were like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, I trusted him. I didn't realize he was using my name. I just thought because of the bills and the house, and he lived there, that if the bills were in arrears, he could go after it.
What's your credit score right now?
Like 450, probably. Yeah.
A quick plug-in, because if you guys are in a spot where you need to build credit, okay, but you don't have either a credit score to back it up, or you don't want to take the risk of having a credit card, you can always apply for something that is called a Fizz. Fizz is a debit card. I really like them personally. I encourage you, and we'll be speaking about this for you to get access to it. It's a debit card that acts as if it's a credit card, so it reports to all 3 credit bureaus, but it doesn't allow you to overspend. I really enjoy them. We have a link in the description if you guys want to check them out. This could be a good solution for you to rebuild your credit, and even for people that are just new in the games that want to build a credit score. There's no credit check, no interest, none of that, and it's a pretty good play as you think about building your score and kind of getting back into the system. We need to get you back into the system, okay?
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to some of the rest of your debt. Actually, that's about it. That's about it. That sums your total debt today to, let me make some math, 8,600 or so. So when we look at your net worth today, at 42 years old, my friend, you're worth $124,585.
All right, not too shabby.
Right?
Yeah.
So the story is not too off, actually, when you think about it. But I think, you definitely have the lifestyle of someone that's completely broke, but you have some money to play with. So let's think together as to now that we understand more about your situation, how do we bring you back on track using our next segment, which looks at the money case. So what I'm going to show you is the amount of money that year to date you've made off your camera equipment. $10,000. And you're like, okay, that doesn't look too bad, right? That's not too bad, huh?
Yeah.
So, if let's say we would have invested that money instead of you having to go on scripts, having to go on all of the platforms, marketing yourself, all of the phone call, the codes, the dropouts, the payment issues, and so on. And let's say we would have had a pretty average portfolio, a lower risk, something that has a little bit of an emergency account, and so on and so forth. This year, you would have made more than $10,000. You would have made $15,800 doing nothing. Okay. Why? Well, that's because the market this year has been pretty good. But this is assuming in a way also that, you would have been wise with your investments and kind of very thoughtful about how you would have spent your money. Now, that's a really good year so far because on the S&P 500, we are about 15%. Generally not the case, okay? But if, let's say, instead of being very thoughtful and very disciplined, you would have said, fuck it, I'm going to invest everything into the S&P 500 January 1st. Mm-hmm. You would have today made $17,500 of your investment. So what I want to bring to realization is, and you guys are going to tell me in the comments, yeah, not every year is a crazy year like we're experiencing right now in the stock market. Yes. But what I want to bring to your realization is when you think about investments and how do you invest your most precious asset, which today is your camera. Mm-hmm. On average, your yield on that camera is 16%, which on paper, anybody wants to make 16%. I'm rising if I make 16% of passive. But you is the complete opposite of that. In fact, you're kind of killing yourself every day to rent that damn equipment when the returns that you're getting from it let you live in misery, right? You're struggling with $100 on your accounts, crazy. But on the side, you have $125,000. So what I want to bring to your realization here is something that I think, as I told you when we were preparing, is going to hurt. But I think
I knew what you were going to say since then.
Yeah. But I think you're not going to believe, the positive outcome that it can bring to your life. I think at some point you need to turn the page. Because those $10,000 here that I'm showing, my friend, you had to grind like hell. When you could have done is press a button January 1st, put your money like this, and you would have made almost twice. Now, this is not recommended, right? I don't want to say put everything that you have into the S&P 500. No. But we have to take action today. And you cannot, at 42 years old, allow yourself to live with $100.
Yeah.
Come on. When you have $125,000 that's sitting at home. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, there are so many other things that you can do. And this is where my segment brings us next. So, where are we at, my friend? Well, the time has come for us to dive into what would I do if I was in your shoes. This is no financial advice. This is exactly understanding kind of almost everything about your situation, your emotions, and your motivations, okay? You've been in the game of filmmaking for 20 years.
Yes.
All right? You know the ins and outs of the industry, but yet you've not really pierced to that level that are people making it. You're kind of grinding your way, but not yet there. But there are a couple things that you have right now and a couple cards that if played with right timing, you could be a complete different person in a year. Let me tell you how. Number one, what's very nice about your case is that you're very frugal. I barely see any type of expenses. Your groceries sum to like $20 here and there, nothing crazy. So when we look at your needs today to survive for you in Los Angeles right now, it's $1,800 per month. This is 123% of your income. What does that mean? Is that right now, every month, you're depleting yourself of $330. You're losing money. You're losing money. And $300, I mean, at 40 years old, is a joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't scraps for, a $2 sandwich or like, a little bit of yogurt in the morning when you have $125,000 that are sitting right there doing nothing. So what I want to do is completely change your mindset and completely change your life. How we're going to do that is by the following. Number one, as soon as you come back home today, you put this camera for sale. Why? Because what I'm expecting is, let's say you get around 125. Hopefully you told me that this is the real value, not the one that you're hoping to sell it for. This is actually the core value. Right now, the timing is key because your assault charges drop off in 1 year. And so what you're telling me right now, think about this for a second, is you're locking yourself in Los Angeles when the asshole is stealing the house from you to make $1,000 per month while you have $125,000 that could go and fight for your house. So you're going to sell that damn camera that has been your work and your identity in a way.
Yeah.
But you're going to sell it. You're going to take a damn plane. You're going to go to Pennsylvania and you're going to do three things. One, you're going to fight for that damn house. If everything you told me is right, freaking put $5,000 on a lawyer and get that shit house. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You're fighting for scraps when you have the jackpot waiting for you at home.
Yeah.
Number two, you're going to rework your damn license. Go to that dumb yard, pay the registration, pay the fee. I don't care. You have money. You need to take care of your business. You have 1 year to resolve the assault, pay that $2,000 because, yes, you're going to have money, to go back to Pennsylvania, take care of your house, to rework your license, and to maintain, for that time, a very low cost of living. Okay? Yeah. This is how I would split my budget. Right now, you live in Los Angeles for about $20,000 to $22,000 per year. For the next year, I'm allocating for you $25,000 to live.
Okay.
That's rent, that's food, any of that. You know you can live off that. You've made it in one of the most expensive cities in the world. So forget, in the short term, about applying to $50,000 acting. I want you to pause your acting. For the next year, you need to rebuild the foundations of yourself, okay? And you get yourself back under a solid structure because you have the jackpot of the $125,000 camera. $25,000 is going to be to live. $5,000 is going to be for the lawyer. $2,000 is going to be for the assault. I want to get that shit all out of the way.
Me too.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to invest about $25,000, I will give you the specific later on, into a high-yield saving account. This is going to give you 5% guaranteed per year, and this is your emergency fund. You don't touch it. You know you have $25,000 in your head. Okay? You're going to max out a retirement plans because, with much respect, at 42 years old with no retirement is a joke in this country. You will be in France, I would tell you, it's fine. You're going to be supported by document. You're on your own. I've found countless people sitting on these seats. 50s, someone that, 67 years old with zero. What do I tell them? I mean, she's working right now at 67 years old. I mean, come on. Yeah. On top of that, think about it. At some point, you've given 20 years into the acting, and guess what? I'm not telling you to drop that. Not at all. But my friend, do you want to have a family at some point?
I do.
You want to have kids?
Yes, I do.
Every set of actions that you're taking here goes to the opposite of that large trajectory. So the dream still sits as an actor, but not in the way that you've been managing it right now. So you're going to invest into a Roth IRA, which is the best way to invest for retirement, $7,000. Okay? That's already taxed. So when you retire, or even if something was to arise, your kids can, get that money and so on. So you're already kind of setting yourself for your future, which here you've not. And you're going to invest into the market with specific stocks that I think are going to be fairly safe, including the S&P 500. And that is going to allow you to still receive some income, okay? And give you that year to get your life back in order. Because in 1 year, this is what's going to happen. You're not going to have that assault, so you're back on the market. You're going to have a little bit of an emergency fund. I can allow myself to take shots. You're now going to have a new driving license. Thanks God.
Yes, thank you, God.
You potentially are going to finally get some equity into that shit house, because the guy, over there, is probably laughing at your situation.
He is.
Because what you have is all the cards, but you're not playing them. You have a deck of gold on your hand, but you're playing with freaking rocks. In 1 year, you can completely be in a different spot with emergency funds, with real estates, with market positioning in the stock market, with a retirement plan. Dude, what are you telling me here?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, you're in a better situation than 90% of the people that I see on this set.
That's uplifting.
You are. You have $130,000 of net worth if I don't include the house. You have something that you can work with.
Yeah.
I think that, honestly, like, if you follow the full plan that I will write for you in description right after, I can almost sign to paper. Then in 1 year, we have you sit back in that seat, man, and you're going to be in a really different spot.
I'm praying for it.
So if I asked you, are you going to go ahead and sell that camera? What do you tell me?
I'd be crazy not to. It's like selling my left arm, but I'd be crazy to die instead.
Yeah.
I'd rather sell my left arm.
Yeah. That's it. You I know it's your identity. It's interesting because this has been kind of your money makers for everything that you've been doing.
It's my
since
business.
It's your business. But financially, it's not there. Sometimes you just have to cut your loss. You didn't cut your loss because you had the experience of many that would dream of. But you would be in your 20s, I would say, yeah, keep going. You can live off 40 years old, sharing a one bedroom with another guy. Like,
yeah, it's horrible.
Let's start for you living a decent life, and you can live it.
I want to.
You got this.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Any final words as we wrap up our discussion?
Do your due diligence and get lawyers to protect you.
Yeah. Insurance is the greatest threat to wealth. Insurance and due diligence. Good word. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much, Sean-Paul, for coming on the show. I'm really thrilled about your turnover. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. We invite you to check out some of the resources below for things that I use. Until then, I see you next time. À bientôt.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Sean. How you doing?
I am quite okay.
How have things been going on? Tell me, what's the juice?
Okay, so the camera is a very expensive thing. It doesn't move fast. You know that. So a lot of offers. Nothing has come through yet.
Okay.
In the process of all that. But I have been very successful myself, and I have garnered a lot of work. I've actually found a significant other, and her and I are getting a lot of couples work and doing a lot of good things. And it's really cool. But here's the thing: because of you, you put me on a path. You gave me information. You said, do this with your money. And I go, okay, but why do I do that with my money? And I want to know things. I started researching more and more, and then I started getting into the world of trading. So I've actually enrolled myself, and I'm now hustling twice as hard to take the online trading academy and attend there to learn trading.
Okay, so hold on. I'm always scared about that, Sean-Paul. What type of trading academy is that?
This is the introductory course. I'm doing it with a friend, so I split the cost. So it literally costs us each like $50. So if this winds up being a bust, it's a bust.
Jean-Paul, please be careful, my friend, because I have.
Yes.
I mean, I've been going through stuff like that. I've taken course of that, and this to me, I must tell you in full transparency, my friend, it's very scary. What you're telling me right now is very scary. 90% of traders, private traders, or at-home traders, do not beat the S&P 500, and some of them get completely destroyed.
No. I'm not putting money into it. I just want to learn about it so I understand it.
What are you going to be doing with the house? Because that's the biggest goal, more than trading.
So the biggest thing right now is that I have to build up at least enough of a nut and a little safe zone so I could go back to Philadelphia and do this. Once the camera sells, I would be able to do that. I have till October 25th until my legal residency at that establishment is void. So I have to be there before then. The problem that I'm finding now is that I cannot get a lawyer on the East Coast while I'm on the West Coast. But if I was in the state of Pennsylvania, then I could get it.
But that's what we discussed, right?
Yes, exactly.
How much are you selling that camera for?
I had it up for $75.
But you told me that it was $125.
The market right now, it's just a really slow market. No one's buying. This is a dead season for the industry. Everyone's on strike again. So
I mean, that's always the thing. There is perceived value and then there is actual resale value. Gosh, okay.
If the camera sells and when it sells, because I pray every day it's going to, but when it sells, everything that you and I have planned is going into fruition. I am following your. I believe me, I have it like pristine saved. I should have it framed. But your whole plan for me and everything I should invest in and do, and it's like, okay, so if the numbers switch, okay, I'll switch the numbers around. But I will put whatever I get from the camera into this and do it.
Okay. Don't discount the gold that is waiting for you in Pennsylvania, my friend.
No, and that's the thing. Like the one lawyer I did talk to, the reason he didn't take the case is because he goes, "Wait a minute, this guy is in your house," and I said, "Yes," and he goes, "And you left the contract in that house, and he found it," and I said, "Yes," and he said, "So he destroyed all evidence of any proof of you and him and your agreement," and I said, "That's what it sounds like, yes." He goes, "But the one thing you can do is because you still have legal residency there and you own everything in that house, the furniture." He goes, "You go and you gut the fuck out of it and you sell everything in it."
Yeah, but the furniture is worth peanuts compared to the value of the house.
Yeah, of course. But hey, look, walking away with $20,000 is better than not walking away with any $1,000. I accept it. Okay, he beat me in fucking business. I'm gonna learn a lot from this. But I'm not walking away with nothing.
Okay. When does the assault case drops off?
I just reached out. I just hit it now, August.
Finally.
I go, "Get this off my record." And they go, "That's $1,700.
I mean, we need that off.
I go, "Okay, yeah, I know." And I go, "Okay, I'll be back.
All right, Jean-Paul. Well, hey, you seem to have something, a lot of things going for you right now. So keep up the positive momentum. But dude, keep me updated on everything. Please be extremely careful with this whole trading thing. This looks like dark waters for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. So just go careful on this, my friend.
Agree.
Okay?
No, I'm grateful for you, and I appreciate you in my life. Thank you for me.
Good luck with everything, and mate, what a story! What a story! Take care. Bye.